فاشرف بالاشتغال بالعلم ولا تبغي به ما عشت يا ذا بدلا ويا له من شرف عظيم.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Brothers and sisters, this inshallah ta'ala is our first sit. It's an introduction inshallah ta'ala to our online Madrasatul Umariyah. Brothers and sisters, today inshallah ta'ala I will be speaking about Al-Manhajiyya fi Talab al-Ilm, the methodology in how to seek knowledge. Many people, they want to learn the Sharia and they want to acquire a good portion of the religion and have comprehension and understanding of it. But what doesn't allow them to go forward and progress is they don't know where to start from. They don't know what to do. And they don't also know how to do it. Inshallah ta'ala, in this sit, I will give you an insight, inshallah ta'ala, in how to seek knowledge, where to start from, what you should do and what you shouldn't do, inshallah ta'ala. Brothers and sisters who are listening, the ways to seek knowledge, طرق تحصيل العلم, the way to seek knowledge, the means, the path to take, it revolves around three main points. Any student of knowledge who wants to embark on this path of seeking knowledge, three things are what he has to come with. Number one is al-hifz, memorization. A student of knowledge, if he's not memorizing, he will be deficient in his learning. The second thing inshallah ta'ala is al-qira'ah, reading. A student of knowledge who doesn't take time out to read will also be deficient in learning and acquiring knowledge. And the third thing inshallah ta'ala is hilaqut tadris, to come to the circles of knowledge, to come to the places where knowledge are being given. If a student of knowledge does not go to a scholar and take knowledge from him, he will be deficient in his acquiring of knowledge. A lot of you may ask yourselves, what do I memorize? How do I memorize? They are very common questions that are asked. Let's go back to the first one of the three things that a student of knowledge needs to gain knowledge. One, hifz, memorization. There are things that a student of knowledge needs to do in order to be able to memorize in the most efficient way and to make sure that that knowledge, that memorization, it goes to his long-term memory. That it goes into his long-term memory. Number one, ikhlasun niyyah lillahi ta'ala. To do this action for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake alone. Husnul maqsad, your intention is purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you do that, you will gain a great portion of knowledge, insha'Allah ta'ala. A person, gains knowledge in accordance to their intention. Number 2, البعد عن المعاصي والآثام. Stay far away from sins. Stay far away from falling into the prohibitions. Stay away and stay far from going against the commands of your Lord. Any student of knowledge who wants to memorize has to stay away from sins. And you're all familiar with the statement of Imam al-Shafi'i, Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i, in which he said to his teacher, Waki' ibn Jarrah al-Ru'asi, he said, شكوت إلى وكيع بسوء حفظي فأرشدني إلى ترك المعاصي وقال إن العلم نور ونور الله لا يهدى لعاصي. He said, I complained to my teacher about my memorization weakening. And so when he went and he complained to him, he said, my memorization has started to weaken. And Imam Waki' ibn Jarrah, he said to him that this knowledge you're taking is light, and sinning will extinguish this light. Allah does not give a person knowledge and then they are able to sin. So stay away from sinning. Number 3, تعويد النفس على الحفظ. It is to consistently train yourself to memorize. A lot of the people don't want to memorize. They just want to rely on books. Number 4, al-mudhakara, revision. Taking a person you know, a friend of yours, and sitting with him and reading what you've memorized on him and asking him to correct you if you have weakness in your memorization. Al-mudhakara, revision. Number 5, كثرة التكرار للمحفوظ, to always go over what you have memorized and not to think, since you've memorized this, you don't have to go over it again. That isn't the case. You always go over it. And last but not least, اختيار الزمان والمكان المناسبين, to choose the best time and to choose the best place. Many people want to memorize, and they want to memorize at times when they are tired, at times when their mind is occupied with other things. Or they want to memorize in a place which is busy, other people are speaking. They want to memorize in front of the computer. They want to memorize in front of a 50-inch plasma television. That won't work. So to choose the right time and to also choose a place where nothing will take your concentration. Those are the 6 things that help a student of knowledge gain knowledge. Those are the 6 things that allows a student of knowledge to memorize. And that is what we were talking about. Number 2, al-qira'ah, reading. Now some of you may ask a question again. What do you mean reading? How do you read? What do you read? There are, inshallah ta'ala, things that a student of knowledge, he has to observe. And he has to look after when he's reading. There is a manner in which you read. Number 1, اختيار الكتاب المناسب. That the student of knowledge, he chooses the right book to read. A lot of people don't know what book to read. And inshallah ta'ala, I will speak about that in our upcoming points when I speak about what we will be not learning and that which we will be gaining in our online program, Madrasat al-Umariyah, inshallah ta'ala. To choose the right book. Number 2 is اختيار الوقت المناسب, to choose the right time to read. Again, some people try to read in the presence of other people. That isn't correct. When you're reading, you have to find a silent place where there's no one or there is little movements taking place. If you have a local library, go to that library and read there. Number 3 is what? تقييد الفوائد على طرة الكتاب. The student of knowledge should have a pen when he's reading. And what he does is, on the cover of the book, he writes the benefits, or he even has a little book, a little notebook, where he writes the little benefits that he comes across. And he writes what volume and what page he finds those benefits in. That is one of the ways to read. Number 4 is تنويع في القراءة بين الفنون. It is that the student of knowledge, he doesn't just read one field of the Sharia, but he tries to differ between different fields. Because what happens is, if you only read one field, sometimes you become bored of reading that field. So if you read usul al-fiqh here, and then you read mustalah al-hadith, and then you read fiqh, and then you read this, and you read that, then your mind will feel energized, and your mind as well, and your heart, and you will also look forward to going back to the subject or the field that you were studying days before. Number 5 is the book you're going to read, to have an overall idea of it. And inshallah ta'ala, when we study the books that we study, inshallah ta'ala, we will do something known as Mabadi'ul Ashar, in which you're going to learn the 10 most basic things that a student of knowledge has to have of every book he is studying or she is studying. It is called what? It is having an overall understanding of that particular field which you are studying, or that book which you're reading. The third one, inshallah ta'ala, is hilaqut tadris, circles of knowledge. Or, in our case right now, coming to this online program and participating by making sure that you listen to the recordings. What is the benefits that it would have in studying from a person of knowledge, or studying from a student of knowledge? Why can't I just go and read the book myself and understand the knowledge myself? Why do I have to come to this online program? Or why do I have to go to circles of knowledge? For 2 reasons. First of all is اختصار الطريق لطلب العلم. The teacher or the instructor who is teaching you will instruct you to the shortest. He will instruct you to the shortest path that you can gain knowledge. Because he's experienced, he knows that route, and he will give you the shortest route in which you could take in order to obtain knowledge in the most effective way and in the shortest of time. The duration is very short. The second one is معرفة المصطلحات عند أهل العلم. A student of knowledge, if he reads a book himself, he may not know the terminologies that are being used here. And the teacher would be able to tell you that this term that is used here by this scholar, he means this, not what other scholars mean by it. And who's able to tell you that? An instructor, a teacher, a person who's higher than you in knowledge. He will give you what? The terminologies of the scholars, and the wordings, what they meant by it, and the way they authored their books. The Salaf, they used to say, لا تأخذوا القرآن من مصحفي. Don't take your Quran from a person who read it from the Mus'haf, who just studied it by himself. Don't. ولا العلم من صحفي. And knowledge, don't take it from a person who he only looked and he researched and he saw it himself. Don't take knowledge from that person. Take knowledge from its people. A person who took it from others, who are people of knowledge, and until the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ولذلك, the Salaf, they used to say, من كان شيخه كتابه. Anyone who his teacher is his book, he only took knowledge from books, he only took knowledge from internet, YouTube. كان خطأه أكثر من صوابه. His mistakes, his shortcomings are going to be far greater than that which he gets right. So it's important that a student sits with a teacher and he takes that knowledge from the knees of a teacher and takes it from him. That was the first part of how to gain knowledge. The path in obtaining knowledge. Point number 2, inshallah ta'ala. So I said the path to gain knowledge is 3 things: al-hifd wal-qira'ah wa hilaqu at-tadris. Memorization, reading, and coming to the circles of knowledge. Now we're going to talk about what are the knowledge in which I have to gain. تلقي العلوم الشرعية. The knowledge that a person who wants to embark on being a student of knowledge, what knowledge does he have to understand, or what knowledge does he take? Number 1, write this down. the knowledge is divided into two. The knowledge in the Sharia that you're going to learn are categorized into two headings. The first one is called ulum, which are al-ghayat. They are the objective knowledges. What do I mean by objective? It is what all the other fields of the religion work for. It is what you are finally aiming to gain. So it's called ulumul ghayat, the objective knowledges. And it is what? It is a tafsir, the commentary of the Quran. Number two is al-hadith, the traditions of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number three is al-fiqh, jurisprudent rulings. And four is al-aqidah, Islamic creed. Those four that I mentioned are called ulum al-ghayat, ama ulum al-maqasid. They are both called. It is what everyone wants to finally gain. But you can't go to ulum al-maqasid, ama ulum al-ghayat, ama ulum al-asliyah, whichever you want to call it. You will never be able to gain it unless you study the second form of knowledge there is, which is called ulumul alah, which is the instrumental knowledges. It's called an instrumental knowledge. It works, it's an instrument to allow you to understand a tafsir, commentary of the Quran, al-hadith, the Prophet's traditions, al-fiqh, the jurisprudent rulings, and last but not least, aqidah, Islamic creeds. Those four, there are instruments that a student of knowledge needs in order to understand these four. And they are as follows. The Quran, the instrument that you have to have, or the knowledge which you need to have in order to study tafsir, is called usul tafsir. It's called what? Usul tafsir. The second one is mustalah al-hadith. Mustalah al-hadith is an instrumental knowledge that allows the student of knowledge to understand the hadith. Why is it sahih? How is it sahih? What makes it sahih? And etc. Fiqh, it has an instrumental knowledge. Ulum al-ala, what is it? Usul al-fiqh. Usul al-fiqh. And aqidah, it requires the understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah and the Arabic language. It requires the understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah and the Arabic language. The Arabic language that you need are these three. An-nahw, grammar, balagha, eloquency. And third one, which is sarf. Sarf, which is morphology. So every student of knowledge, he has to study this methodology, this sciences. He has to have understanding of it in order to be able to understand the Quran and the Sunnah. Now inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to go into details in the ulum al-maqasid, the objective knowledges, and also the ulum al-alah, which is the instrumental knowledge. I'm going to go to each one in details inshallah ta'ala in my upcoming sit.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Join us on our Islamic YouTube channel to learn, grow and connect with like-minded individuals. Our channel is dedicated to sharing the teachings of Islam and promoting peace and understanding. Subscribe now for a wealth of educational content and the opportunity to engage with our community. Your support through likes, shares, and comment is greatly appreciated. Jazakallah khair. Looking for information during Ramadan is an essential part of self-awareness and improvement for Muslims. It is a change to find out about Islam, upgrade understanding, and Reinforce confidence through participating in Islamic exercise. For example, pursuing the Quran and going to addresses people can develop their insight into Islam and its lessons. Eventually, looking for information during Ramadan can assist people with working on themselves and procure award from Allah.